name is Carlos Badio and welcome to the tutorial for the logbook. I'm going to show you how to edit this After Effects template and get the best result out of it. So this is what you see when you open the folder, footage with all the assets that we use, help folder, the logbook that you can open right now, and the logbook traveler. The logbook traveler I will show you later. It contains the edit that you saw in the preview, so you can have exactly the text and animation that you saw in the preview if you really like that. But the logbook one is more is cleaner. It contains absolutely nothing, so you can start from scratch creating animation and the content that you want. So I recommend using the logbook for multiple purposes, and if you really like the preview, you can try with the traveler version. So let's get started. This is what you see when you open the project, and what we have here is two important comps. We have render me and composite. Render me, you can find the null, that is also named control here. The control one, it's the null that allows us to move the camera and pan around and zoom in and out. And you can, now it's edited, actually have some keyframes that add some animation to the whole sequence. So you can pan from the left page to the right page, and it's basically what you saw in the preview. And this adds some movement to the whole thing. But if you don't like it, you can just go ahead and select these two stopwatches, click on them, and it will erase all the keyframes that we have here. And you can start from scratch, and right now what you will see is the animation stays at this spot for the whole time. But if you don't like that, you can just animate position and scale, maybe even rotation if you want. Just create some keyframes, and After Effects will take care. Let me lower the resolution so we can go faster on this tutorial. I definitely recommend editing everything on a quarter or a third, depending on the size of your window, but it will definitely go faster and allow you to make changes easily. So just create a keyframe for position and scale if you want in the control layer, and this is taking some time. And scale, yeah, and you can just zoom in and out using the scale control. So at this point we're going to increase these. Make sure not to go out of the borders, so the picture has some borders, it's limited, so you make sure when you zoom in and out not to go out of these limits. And then position, we can move this to the left to center it a little bit. And if you're not sure, you can always press question mark on the keyboard, and this will open these what's the name actually? You can also go right here, title action save, and you'll have a cross in the middle of the screen, so you can position everything properly centered. Okay, it's centered now, and let's zoom out a little bit. And remember, you can control the animation with these and create as many keyframes as you want. Then we have the vignette that does exactly as advertised. It creates a vignette around your picture. And then we have color adjust that creates this warmer, a little bit filter that can sharpen the noisy filter that we have here. You can of course deselect the lock and play with it. Then we have the first title, the initial blur, that this blur that we have at the beginning, that when the first title appears on screen, we have a blur on the actual logbook. We have the end title, and we have the composite. And then we have the notebook sounds, which are the basic page sounds and some basic sounds that I included with this project completely for free. And remember, you can play with that, just delete end title, delete the initial blur, play with it, etc. So make sure just to adjust these to all your necessities. And when you're happy with the end result, or actually you should do this at the end, but make sure to play with that. And then we have the composite, which is the comp that will allow us to edit the content of our pages, which is the basic feature of the logbook. And what we have here, the composite, is many comps and page numbers, and we have the cover, and we have time remap. Time remap is the base layer here. This contains the information about all the pictures, that all the sequence that creates a logbook, all the photographs. Then we have the cover that appears at the beginning and at the end, and this is it. And then we have page 1, page 2, page 3, etc. And we have photos, and inside this photo, for example, is in page 4, so we have 4 indicated here. This photo is in page 6, and that's it. So that's it. Remember, some comps are duplicated. For example, this page 2 here is a scene at the end when the book closes. We have a very quick peek of page 2 as it closes, so it says it just included that. But all these layers are locked because the animation of them in them is very precise, and any movement, any accidental movement could mess with that. So I locked all of them. Of course, you can play with that, unlock and change everything if you need to. But the way to edit them is actually to go here in the project window to pages, open this folder, and access all these same comps through the project window. So let's go to cover, and I'll show you how to edit this. In cover here, we can add anything that we want, but it will engrave itself on the cover. So let me show you an example with text, new text, and I'm gonna write logbook title, and let me change the font and the color, and this will play with the alpha channel of your text. So actually the color doesn't matter, or the color of the picture doesn't matter, but this will play with the alpha that you create on this comp. So if we create something like this, let me make the text bigger. Whoops. Yeah. If we make this text bigger and center it right here, when we go to cover, what we will have is this text engraved on our cover. So to see that, we can go to cover right there, and there we have it, logbook title engraved. Now the quality is very low, but remember, if we increase that, the engraving is actually quite realistic. So remember to add anything that you want on this cover and it will engrave. You can add your logo with alpha channel, etc., and it will just engrave on the cover. So now let's go to page 1 and I'll show you how to edit this. For example, let's open it through here, through the pages on the project window. And what we have here is a blank comp with a divider in the middle that I blocked. So this indicates where the middle of the book is. And we also have this layer here that's named saved area, and this is locked. And this is just a guide for you to make sure nothing is on the edges, because the edges are the part of the book that is less realistic. So if you want to keep it extra realistic, the good thing will be to keep everything inside the edges and nothing on the limit. So this save area will help you do that in an easy way. Let me show you. First, let me import some assets here. So actually, let me close this, and inside assets, we'll create a new folder, and we'll name it pics. Alright, and now let's import this example, pictures and videos that I have here. And when we have it, I'll show you how to add this and properly position it on your pages. So let's add, for example, a very simple thing, one icon. If I drop it below the save area comp, I can move this icon around, I can do whatever I want with it. But if I move it to the edge, what happens? The save area comp will cut it in the way so it doesn't get to the edge. And this is a way to just easily make sure everything is in place. But if you want to jump over this rule, there's a very simple way. You just have to do this. put the Facebook or the any icon or any picture above a save area, and you'll be able to put it on the edge or wherever you want. So that's it. This comp works as every comp. So you can animate anything in here. You can make movement. You can add text, typographic animation, any kind of animation that you have in mind will work on this comp. And then when you go back to composite, you will see that on page 1 now we have our icon embedded on it. And any animation that you add will play on it. So make sure just to, for example, at the beginning of page 1, you just can see this part of the page, and for example right there, if you add some animation to the left side, it won't be seen because page 1 is not already on site. So make sure to take that into account when you animate something, so it starts right when both pages are in view or just before that. And this is as easy as it gets. So just go back to page 1, and there we have it. Now, let me show you another thing. How to add pictures or text that look like they're really written on the page, so the content is actually in there. Let's add this drawing that I found. Let's deselect Facebook, and if we go back now to composite, the look of it won't be as good as we want. It's alright if you want to show like photographs, but this is not looking like it's drawn on the page. The way to do that is actually very easy. You just have to select this, and first of all, since this has like a frame, I'm gonna mask out this frame with a very quick mask that I can do. That's it. And now let's add some levels to this picture. Sorry. Let's add levels, and what we're going to do is increase contrast like that, so it resembles white. And let's play with the result, maybe increase darks a little bit. Yeah, remember this is a quarter, but if we go to full, this is looking pretty neat. And we will go back to composite. What we have is this looking as it's drawn on the page. So let me show with full resolution for a moment. That's it. If the paper is not that good, what you can do is feather a little bit this mask. So this mask we have right here, hit M twice, feather it a little bit, and this will help you blend this picture or this text. You can do this with text. If you have a picture of text and you want to add it as if it's written on the page, I recommend using exactly this method. So the text will appear as if it's written. So make sure to play with the levels until we have black and white, because the render mode this uses, all of these pages are being multiplied onto the background. So that way all the white will disappear and all the darks will be multiplied onto the page. Now let's say you want the drawing to be above the Facebook icon. So the way to do that is just to change that to multiply as well. So make sure to play with blending modes, because you can add this the same way you can draw something over something on a page. You can add something like that and then increase the scale of this. Whoops, too much. The same way you can, on a normal notebook, you will draw over other stuff. You can draw anything and will be over the icon, or you can play with blending modes so things blend together. And here we have a little bit of the mask showing up, so we'll have to refine that and maybe close the mask a little bit, something like that, until we're happy with the result. But this is the way to add elements and integrate elements onto the page and make them look good. That's much better. Now we have something on the left. But that will be it. That will be the way to animate everything. What else? Now let's go. Every page works exactly the same. So if you go to project and open page 2, it will be exactly the same. We have this one divider and both pages. Now, there's some pages that are different. Now we have page 4 here. in which if we place something, let's see, if we place, for example, this on this left side, and this will be a good idea to apply levels again, actually, and make sure this white is completely white, so something like that. If we put this here and we go to composite and page 4, you'll see that part of it is covered by this photo that's paperclipped to the page. So make sure in page 4 and 6 to adjust your composition to these elements that will be above it. Now, let's go to edit these pictures that we have here. So let's open pages, and you'll see that we have photo 4. On photo 4, you can add absolutely everything that you want, as well as a completely open comp. So if you want to edit, to add, let's say this drawing right here, it's actually quite big, something like that, and go to composite, you'll see that on page 4 we have exactly that. It's just this small building and the picture, and it's looking good. It will animate with this paperclip little page that you can make look as a picture, as a note, etc. You can also add text, of course, or any animation. Now, way to do with what I like to do with this little picture is to add some video to it and make sure it looks like a photograph. And the way to do that will be to crop this a little bit, something like that. And this is a nice way. You can, of course, add text to the bottom here. And this is looking like a photo, and when you go here, you will have a video that's animating on the picture, so as the picture will come to life. And what you saw in the preview is actually just a video that's freeze frame up to a point. So we right click on it, time, and we have time remapping, and we can just freeze this frame, for example. Now copy it, Command or Control C, paste it here. So both frames are the same, and now we have all this frozen frame at the beginning of the animation, and then it will start moving. So we just have to adjust this. So let's go back to composite, find the proper moment, because we have to make sure this happens at the right time. And for example, right there, when the page is set, right there, we can go back to page 4, actually photo 4, and this is the point. So let's zoom in. Let's select both of this, and let's move this animation so it doesn't stretch. Let's move this here, and this way we have this frozen frame up to a point, and then there's a few frames where it's frozen, and then it starts moving. And that's a really nice effect, because what you expect to see when you see a picture, even on a video, what you expect to see is a still picture, and having a picture starting to move creates a really nice effect that I really enjoy. Now, I actually showed you everything right now, because every page works exactly the same, and editing them, it's that simple. You just add anything that you want on them, you just click and add some text to it. You play with blending modes, and oops, missed a letter there. You play with the blending modes, and for example, let's say we put this here, and we use alpha. Actually, I did it the wrong way. It's the opposite one. Just like that, we have some colorful text. And go back to composite. See how it's looking. Nice, so just play with that, create the animation that you want. This template is useful for many purposes, of course. And then, oh, actually I have something more to show you. We have the elements, and these elements are something I included to make editing easier and more fun. So we open here assets and we have elements, and inside elements we have, for example, globe, and this is what you saw in the preview, probably an animated globe that you can play with that, but it's just a way to include some motion and action in your background if you need to, or to signal some countries that you visited. So Indiana Jones kind of travel map, etc. This will spin around. You can of course colorize it using tint, for example. Let's give it a more vintage look. Let's tint black to a dark brown, and that will allow us. Nice. So there we have it. And you can just play with that. And there's many more actually. There's arrow 1. You can add it here. It's very short animation, so make sure to place it exactly where you want. And let's change the blending mode to add. Actually, we need to invert this to work. It will work in some situations, but if we have a transparent background, it would not work. So I use invert. And then tint. And it's black, the background is black because some of them are exported with black background instead of alpha, and some of them are with alpha, but it's very easy. Just add invert and then tint, and tint blacks to whatever color you need to. So let's use this, and there we have it. And if we use multiply now, actually, so using invert and tint, it will allow you to change the aspect of this these extra columns that I added. Sorry for that. You can move it around and use it to signal something. You can also place it not here on the pages, but on the actual composite. So you can come here and, for example, add this pass to some page, and I recommend to do this on the composite window. So let's zoom in with that on the timeline. And right there, as page 6 is turning into page 7, we can add this pass that we see right here, and let me find a spot where page is right there. Yeah, something like that. So as the page turns, you can add this pass animation, and as you can see there, we can tint it and map blacks to, let's say, pink color, whites as well. And in a minute this will be pink, and this will turn with your page and create a nice dynamic effect if you want to. So you make sure to explore all the options with these different animations. There's line for underlining, exclamations, corner animations, arrows, etc. And then you have the spinning globe. So I basically designed this to make the animation more exciting. If you have, if you feel that just filling the pages is not enough and you have very static content, you can add this stuff to make everything more dynamic. And that's it. Now here you have the notebook sounds inside, sound effects, and then what I also included is these elements to make editing easier. There's photo frames, and these photo frames are basically something that it's ready to work as if your content was an album. So it has these shades here. I remember this is something you can use or not depending on what you want. But these things are see if there's a cutout on the page, and when you include some content. So let's say we put here a video, the video we use here. you can just crop it around and just drop it in there, and it will have these cutouts as if this was a physical picture that you actually put on the page by cutting it. And when you're happy with that, just go to page 2, for example, and bring in photo frame 1 and position it the way you want. And that will be it. Of course, you can place a video picture directly on the page, no need for this. But I added this photo frame thing if you want, in case you want to make a photo book or something, to have it a little bit more realistic. And if you need more than 3, simply duplicate, and the way to do that is Command or Control D when you have this selected. So duplicate, duplicate, duplicate as many times as you want, and then you'll have many photo frames. You can crop different content and just drag it to the page. And in a very similar way, you have this text folder here, and we have here the end title. And here, if we click, we can create some text, and this will appear at the end. And of course, it will be animated. Actually, it's empty. I don't know why, but it will be placed at the end, and it will be animated. And the way it's animated is using some child layers that I included here. So there you have it. So these child layers that are hidden animate your title, and we'll add some wiggling to it and some animation. And of course, if you don't like, just deselect the visibility for this, and that will be enough to stop the animation. And this works for end title. On the title, there's no animation. Just drop your logo in here or anything that you want, and it will appear at the beginning of the comp, at the beginning of the whole animation. And there we have it. And then we have text 1, text 2, text 3, and these work the same way as the photo frames. Just create some content, and here we have it says the fuel, and actually it's animated with, actually this is locked, so unlock it, and it's animated to typewrite itself, so letters will appear one by one. And if you like this this template, you can of course change the color, let's say to black, and of course change the content of this text. And it says content now. You can reposition it, and it will animate itself and then disappear, and of course change the size or the font as well. And these work in the same way as the photo frames. You can just get this and drop them inside of Composite. Let's say you wanted them on top of the text or inside of the pages, etc. So you can play with both spaces, and you can maybe create some animation that works inside and outside of the page and complete itself. That would be really cool. I wish I thought of this earlier. And if you need more of these, just duplicate them, and there you have it. And then this one, it says hello, but of course you can just change the text and maybe duplicate these and have as many text animations as you want. And remember, these have child layers to create this wiggling effect that you saw in the preview. And I think that is it now. When you're happy, go to Render Me Comp, and this is one you want to render with your favorite settings. And that's it. That's the way to edit the logbook. I hope that you like this template, that it's useful for you, and that I hope you show me sometime what you do with it. Thank you very much for purchasing this, and see you next time.